Here is why $100,000 an ounce silver is a conservative estimate. And no, that is not me saying $100,000 an ounce silver is a conservative estimate. This is me covering an article from someone else saying that $100,000 an ounce silver is a conservative estimate. There's a big difference. For some people, they don't understand that. They think that whatever I'm covering and whatever anyone else says in the article that I'm covering is what I mean too. But that's not the truth. And the worst part is, they won't even watch the video. They'll just read the title and look at the thumbnail and assume that that's me saying it. When he says that $100,000 for an ounce of silver is being conservative, he was literal, folks, because in this article, he breaks down how silver should equal or will equal $136,604. And he shows the whole shebang. He goes from $30 an ounce at the current price to $150 to all the way to $475, keeps going down to $2,300 and then $112,000 and all the way to $136,604. You can't make this up. So obviously you can see why this is going to be an interesting video. I've been following Road to Ruta for many years. He's actually a very knowledgeable and respected person in the investing community with crypto as well. I remember following him with Litecoin and all that. So it's going to be interesting to say the least. But before we jump into this, make sure you go to bullionmax.com/silverslayer if you want the best deal online right now. It's a 5-ounce starter kit. You get 5 ounces of silver at below employee pricing. We're talking about coins like Type 2 Eagles that are $45 easily, but you're paying around the price of 5 generics. It's only 1 per household, obviously, or people would be buying these like hotcakes and they wouldn't be able to keep their business open, obviously. So make sure you get this. Only a very limited time offer, but I am working on a 15-ounce deluxe silver bundle with them, and I get to handpick all 15 ounces. So stay tuned because it's only going to be available to my audience at that insane cost as well. So anyways, let's jump into this. So where the price of silver is going and why. This is crazy. Like I've heard, $1,000 an ounce silver. I've heard $5,000 an ounce silver, right? And they kind of compare that to silver should be as valuable as gold. And they talk about gold going to 5,000, silver going to 250, and they'll try to like use the gold to silver ratio. But 136,000, that's way out there, folks. I mean, that's way out there. I think the highest I've heard from someone being realistic before was like 10,000, but I've never heard 136,000. We're a far away from the previous milestone. So nobody should underestimate the coiled spring effect that underlies the silver price. 45 years of computer price suppression won't blow off smoothly. Now, he will attempt to quantify the potential price movements in the silver based on 20 reasons to sell buy from this article. 20 reasons to sell buy physical silver. Okay, that's a weird way to put it. Sell, buy. Okay. But anyways, in each instance, I will give my reasoning, but it must all be taken with a grain of salt because there are many factors and consequences related to each point, but here it goes. So that's the thing. Like, should silver be $1,000? Yes. But we live in a reality where there's price suppression and there's a lot of other things going on. Like, if you want to be literal, yeah, silver is just as valuable as gold technically, and it's much more useful than gold, right? So if you're trying to be realistic, yeah, but we have to be realistic, right? Like back in the day, the gold to silver ratio was 2.5 parts silver equals 1 part gold, 2.5 to 1. But that was thousands and thousands of years ago when they saw silver as being magical because it can purify water and drop silver in milk keeps the milk fresh longer. But it wasn't until the 30s where FDR got in office and changed the gold to silver ratio from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1, single-handedly devaluing silver, and it's never really recovered. So this is all man-made, but you got to incorporate that when you're trying to say a crazy high price is, we live in a society nowadays where they don't even look at silver as money anymore. Silver is just a commodity that is just used for electronic. Current price silver, let's use $30 as Janet Yellen could sneeze and send the price to silver. Number 1, The removal of the gigantic concentrated short position on the COMEX silver market, as reported in the CFTC traders and bank participation reports. So, obviously the COMEX, the paper silver price, and the physical silver price are much, much different. You're going to see spot price being $25, but you're going to have to pay $40, $45 for an actual ounce of silver. And most of those contracts on the COMEX are non-existent silver. Like, if everyone tried to turn in all those contracts, there would not be enough silver. And some say, every ounce of silver you actually have in your hand, 100 other people theoretically own that on the COMEX. But you're the only one that actually owns it, because you're the only one that has it in your possession, right? That's why the saying of the true silver stackers is, if you can't hold it, you don't own it. But anyways, let's keep on moving on. In 1980, the Hunt brothers attempted to corner the silver market. And if you guys don't know that story, I made a whole 4-video docu-series on the Hunt brothers, breaking down what actually happened, because there's just surface story from mainstream media, but it goes a lot deeper. I highly recommend you go check that out. It's a great video series I did. I put a lot of effort and research into it. But anyways, basically what they did is push this price of silver up to the highest price it's ever been, which is $50. Three brothers. The COMEX contracts, as well as the holding physical silver. And by the way, he's bringing this up, I think, because the Hunt brothers, they own 77% of the global silver supply. I didn't say 17, I said 77%. I mean, they're billionaires. But what they did was try to turn all of those contracts in, because they owned all that silver, paper on the COMEX. They tried to turn it into physical delivery. So they were going to physically own 77% of the global silver supply. And that's not going to fly. On paper, they could, but when it comes to the physical, the government needs silver. These industries, even, back in 1980, silver was still used for a lot of stuff. So you know what the government did? They literally made a law on the spot called Silver Rule 7, banning silver on the COMEX. You couldn't buy silver. Basically just saying, you know what, you guys, we're going to make a law and just not let you buy silver anymore. And actually, nobody could buy it. It was banned. And actually, the Hunt brothers got the silver because it was illegal to own gold or buy gold at the time that they started investing in precious metals. It's kind of weird that not even that long ago, gold and silver at different periods were illegal, and you couldn't buy it. A lot of us just started stacking a couple of years ago. So to look backwards, we don't even realize, hey, silver was $50 10 years ago in 2011, or it was illegal to buy gold or own silver only a couple decades ago. Let's see his reasoning, though. I kind of just went on a rant, but I felt like it was, I guess, it was to the point, though. It wasn't just a random rant that was meaningless. There was definitely some meaning there. So let's keep on. When the U.S. government made the decision to shut them down and end the supposed manipulation, the Hunt brothers held 90 million ounces worth of the long COMEX silver contracts. COMEX changed the rules to only allow selling silver, and that's what I was talking about. You could only sell it. You couldn't buy silver. You had to sell it, and you had to sell it to the government. It's called Silver Rule 7, which led to Silver Thursday, when the price basically went from $50 an ounce back to $9. But anyways, allow the selling of silver contracts to liquidate, right? They literally said, you know what, you guys can't buy any silver anymore. You have to sell it to all of us. And everyone on the COMEX has to sell all their silver to all of us. You can't sell it to friends or anyone. You have to sell all your silver right now to us, because these three brothers own 77%, and we need silver to make the world go round. But anyways, like I just said, the price fell from $50 to $10 in a matter of 2 months. Current price manipulation, so before bullion, 250, blah, 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 blah. Price an ounce, $30 times 5, $150 an ounce. Where does he get 5? I'm assuming he's talking about this is the movement when the 4 bullion banks are taken out. So the $30 price, so with that's our base. When the 4 bullion banks close their massive short, but then there's more. Number 2, the new announcement of charges filed from the FTC, or that CFTC and the DOE's and the investigation market manipulation. Okay, so yes, we know that silver prices are being manipulated. I actually just made a video on this a couple days ago. More people got caught spoofing, placing false buy orders on these exchanges, canceling the order before it goes through, which is highly illegal. JP Morgan's the mascot of this. They've gotten caught several times. 3 of their employees got sent to prison, actually, for this. It's very illegal now, and they're starting to crack down. But Basically, what he's trying to say is the free market affecting the price will be substantial without the bullion banks to cop the price again on any news. So then he's saying this is putting silver at $180 an ounce. This is going to be a pretty messy video. I like to make my videos very tight knit, but there's just so much information flying everywhere. I hope you guys are sticking with me because it still is interesting. There's just a lot that he's saying. So number 3, shut down the iShare, the SLV basically, and subsequent any attempt of SLV investors to transfer their shares into physical, right? And actually made a video about this where someone actually tried to turn in their contracts on the COMEX into physical delivery, and they wouldn't let them. And I was talking about how big of a situation this could be if everyone does try to turn their contracts into physical delivery, because they can, but 9 times out of 10, people just let the contract go through. They don't turn it in. They could, though. That's kind of what the Hunt brothers tried to do. And if they stopped that, if they wouldn't let people turn those contracts in, that would be massive. And the reality is there's not enough silver for all those people to turn those contracts in. If everyone tried to, which it's supposed to be, there is enough. That's why there's those contracts, but there's not enough. There's nowhere near enough silver to fill all those contracts. So those people are owning non-existent silver, and that's why it's so important to invest in the physical silver, not the digital. And then that's what he's saying. For anyone who believes that the silver ETF is legit, he says, I have a nice piece of swamp in Florida I'd like to sell you. The extent of the SLV, of the fraud of the SLV should not be underestimated. Involves entire banking cabal and currently being court. Okay, so but anyways, he's saying that should be $360 an ounce. Okay, 3 big injustices have now been reversed. The price is 7 times, all-time high is 50. And now he says, how is it going to continue to rise? So number 4, the implementation of the COMEX position limits in silver no more than 5,000 contracts and the enforcement of the disruptive trading practices law. So he's talking about another significant position which limits is huge. It doesn't stop price manipulation, but it really handcuffs the market rigors, which I do think this is, which this is going to put silver at $396. Now, I do see a day and age, and I talk about this a lot. There's going to be a day and age where silver is going to take on a life of its own, right? No matter what the dollar index is doing, no matter what stock market volatility is doing, no matter what gold's doing, silver is going to move on its own. And it's kind of funny that gold and silver's prices are so similar when they're used for 2 completely different things. Now, yes, silver's more volatile because it's a much smaller market, but still, if you look at a chart, they're almost identical. Silver's used for a lot of other reasons, way beyond gold. And when those times come for the industrial sector with electric vehicles, 5G, solar panels, gold's not going to flourish there, but silver will, especially when people realize the massive silver shortage that is coming. And if you don't believe me, then try to explain why coins have $20 premiums when just a couple of years ago there were $2 premiums. Silver scarce, low supply, high demand pushes the price up. It might not be spot price, but the price to buy that item or that coin is up. So anyways, we're still at the fair market value. So number 5, settlement of the silver derivative, the OTC position as reported in the U.S. blah, blah, blah. So he's saying 3 banks, JP Morgan, Citibank, and both held a derivative position of other precious metals, $60 billion. It is believed due to the market structure, the silver makes the vast majority of that figure. So he's saying if it's given the green unwind 20% bump of that price of real physical silver, that would push it to $475. Are we done with the fraud aspects? Nope. Okay, number 6, the mass redemption of the paper silver currently held in pooled silver accounts. So a lot of this is just yes, if he's being literal and in a fair world, but we don't live in a fair world, right? But I think he's meaning more of if we lived in a fair world and all of these things happened exactly as they should, this is a possibility. Let's look at it that way. But anyways, he's saying $713 an ounce, and he kind of compares this to a phantom silver investors in 2007, and blah, blah. I'm kind of trying to look at the main big meat and potato points. So he said now we're sitting at $713 an ounce silver. Much of the fraud is shaken the market. This is very close to the cliff high silver prediction of $600 silver where SHTF happens. But now we can concentrate on the real supply and demand issues as they relate to the price freely traded silver. Here we go. The silver to gold ratio reflects the true physical relationship between above ground gold and above ground silver that is available for sale at the free market and the open market. This is where the entire world needs a big slap in the face. March 2020 silver gold ratio, it was actually 125 to 1. And yes, that's when silver was $11, and it's also around the time where gold broke past $2,000, the highest price it's ever been. Oil was $40 a barrel 1 month later, and actually in 2020, silver was the number one performing asset. It beat gold, it beat Tesla stocks. It went from $11 in March to $30 within 4 or 5 months later. But anyways, he's saying that the natural ratio should be 7 to 1 or lower. And that's the ratio it comes out of the ground. And actually, it should be lower, that lower part, meaning that silver is a byproduct. It's found by accident. They're looking for gold, lead, or zinc. If they find some silver, they'll take it, but they're not looking for it. But the lower part actually means because silver is not recycled, is nowhere near as much as gold. Like 95% of gold is recycled because it's so valuable. People are going to keep scrapping and pawning all their jewelry, and most gold is only used for jewelry and coins. So that coin is sold and scrapped and melted down to more jewelry and coins. But silver, especially since it's so much cheaper, nobody's pawning and selling it. Most of it's thrown away, especially since it's mainly used in the industrial sector. It's used in the laptops and all that stuff. It's getting thrown away. Nobody's going to scrap it. Silver probably lasts 20 years tops after it gets dug up out of the ground, where gold lasts 80, 90 years after it's dug up out of the ground. So even though it comes out of the ground roughly 8 to 1, looking at it's a byproduct and most of it's thrown away, the life cycle is a lot lower than 8 to 1. But anyways, sorry that I keep rambling. There's just there's so much stuff in my brain that I could break off of this, and I like teaching people so they understand the context. So that's why I do that. Hopefully, I know I watch some YouTube channels where they'll ramble though, and it has nothing to do with the topic, and that's what I hate. Like if I ramble, it's always about something that's important that I think you should know. There's always a meaning behind it. I'm not talking about what I fed my dog last night. Like you guys don't care about that. But anyways, now he's talking about $1,800 silver. So he's talking about $10,000 gold. Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. They use the gold to silver ratio. Like if we're talking about $5,000 gold and the ratio is at 16 to 1, that would put silver at like $250. So now he's talking about $2,700 an ounce silver. Are you getting a little shaky with these numbers? Are you really thinking not a chance? It gets better. The reversal of silver's ever-increasing use in the industrial applications due to either high prices or discovery of a viable substitute with silver properties and attributes. Similar as above, but with this twist, silver is the best conductor of electricity. We already know that. Best conductor of electricity, light sensitivity, electrical conductivity, energy field. We're in the early stages. Hard to quantify the future use of silver. That's true, right? I mean, silver, there's new inventions for silver every single day basically with scientists, since it's nothing compares to silver. So then the realization by the remaining 99.9% of the investing public that does not currently own any physical silver is extremely undervalued and should be held by investor interest portfolio. Almost nobody is invested into physical silver. I mean, and that's why Wallstreetsilver says we are the 0.999%. Which is pretty funny, but it's true. Like, people will be watching these videos one day, and they'll be like, man, I wish I was investing in silver in, April 12th, 2022. Man, like, those guys were so lucky. Kind of like when people look back at Bitcoin, like, I wish I bought Bitcoin when it was $5. Like, we're kind of before the curve. We're like time travelers, but we're in it right now, so take advantage. Now, I'm not talking about $136,604 silver, but, even a fraction of that, a small fraction of that, still pretty good. So, kind of goes into manipulative imbalances. I'm not going to cover all this. I'll post this link in the description if you want to go into it deeper because we're only at 37,000. He still has to go all the way down to 136,000. So when investors stop saying silver's too hard to store and start worrying about too valuable to leave in a bank's safety deposit box, storing silver is fun. Yeah, I mean, that's like the best part about it is that you get to hold it in your own hands instead of just looking at it on a screen. But he's saying $136,000, $136,604. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I'm curious what you think about this. It's a long article, so I didn't want to like cover every point, especially since I break off of so many of these points just because I can't read something and then there's more information that's not said. I have to say it. And that's, I think, how you teach someone something instead of them just knowing, it's just I think it's the right thing to do. But yeah, what do you think about this article? Do you think this is just a crazy out there article, or do you think it's more of the narrative that I said, where if we lived in a perfect world and all of these things happened in line, as they should, which is not likely, actually highly unlikely, but if that if there wasn't manipulation and like he kind of says that stuff breaks down and everything happened exactly how it was supposed to, that's what the price could lead to. Now, is he saying it will do that? I don't know. Should it do that? Probably, but will it is a whole different thing, right? Just like I said earlier, should silver be $1,000 right now? Yeah, but you have to be realistic that there's a lot of other factors keeping it low. But will those factors continue to keep it low? Probably not. When we look at the reasoning ahead, in my opinion, the biggest is going to be scarcity, the shortage, right? The low supply with the high demand, and the essential aspect that silver is the most important critical thing we need in the green revolution, but there's less and less and less of it, especially in the next 10 years. But it's up to you to decide. I say that it's the most undervalued thing in the world, and that's why I buy it, and that's why I invest into it. That's why I think you should too. But let me know what you think. Anyways, if you want to check out this article, link will be in the description. Also, go over to bullionmax.com/silverslayer. Lower your dollar per ounce average and get this amazing deal. Stay tuned. I'm also doing my silver giveaway soon, so make sure you subscribe and go enter. May the luckiest stackers win. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon.